What's going on YouTube? Stevie 305. This is a small tutorial video on how to replace valve cover gaskets in an 83.3 Toyota Lexus motor. You can also use this video to replace spark plugs as well. Subscribe and like the video and follow us up because we also got videos coming on working out, sneaker news, sneaker release days, nutrition, bunch of stuff, comedy skits, all that stuff coming. So hit the like button, subscribe to us, and let me up later. Peace. Yeah, what's going on? Let's get started. Pretty much, you want to start off by removing the top half of the air cleaner. Take the air filter out of the way, set it aside for later. Take your ratchet along with an extension. We don't matter length as long as you just get it down there with a 10mm socket to take off the clamps that's holding on the intake hoses. Pretty much you can use a Phillips on this, but I use a 10mm socket just because you don't have to worry about it slipping off. With a Phillips, it tends to slip off sometimes. This makes it a lot easier for me, at least. Take off the back clamp. Take off the vacuum hose from the intake to the valve cover, front valve cover. Pretty much just wiggle it off the throttle body. It'll be a little bit sticky from the heat causing the plastic to stick to it. Take off that little vacuum hose from the intake box. Set the intake box aside so now you have room. Next, you disconnect your throttle position sensor. Disconnect the harness. Just set that to the side. You have a little cooling hose right by the throttle body, so you might want to take that off. I use pliers on this simply because the throttle body sits right there between the little cooling hose, so there's not really a lot of space. So I use a set of pliers because it could clear the actual space right there to actually take back off the clamp. Now the thing with the hoses, throughout the years of like heat and everything, the rubber can tend to stick to the actual metal pipe itself. So take the pliers, put it at the very tip of the hose. Don't clamp it on too tight, just put a little bit of force on it. Wiggle it from side to side to kind of break that bond that it created, and therefore you could pull the hose off without actually breaking the hose. Take off the remaining vacuum. This car has a ton of vacuum hoses, so just be prepared to remove the vacuum hoses, and don't forget to put them back. You don't want no check engine lights. At this point, there's two 10mm bolts that holds down that bracket for the vacuum hose and the sensors. So to remove the 10mm bolts, put them to the side in a secure location so you'll find them later. You disconnect your two vacuum hoses, one going to the intake and one going to the actual intake manifold itself. So like I said, the heat will cause the rubber to stick to it. Just simply take the pliers, wiggle it back and forth where it connects to, so you can break that bond and you can pull it off without damaging the hose. And pretty much just set it to the side. Next, you take, I believe it was about 14 millimeter. I could be wrong, might be 12, but I believe it was a 14 I used socket. You know, break the bolts. Take your bolts once again, set them to the side. I have a little magnet tray, so I'll put on a magnet tray so I can find them later. Like I said, set it to the side. You have all the space in the world. Now at this point, you will need a 5/16 Allen socket, because Toyotas happen to say, no, we don't need regular bolts. We're going to put Allen sockets here. So go ahead and take your 5/16, remove it. And at this point, you will see the manifold starting to separate. Voila, there you have it. Separation. Now you have, like I said, have another vacuum hose to the back. Simply take your pliers or whatever hose clamp removal tool you have. Remove the clamp from the back. This one will stick as well, as you can see. Right there, just take it, break the bond. Just wiggle it off, and it will pop right off for you. There is a ground wire that goes to the back of the manifold. That was a 12, I believe, 12 millimeter socket. No, actually, that was a 12. Yeah, that was a 10. I'm sorry, that was a 10 millimeter socket that I used for the back. Remove the ground wire. Also, by the way, don't forget to disconnect your battery so you don't run any risk of a short. You don't want that. At this point, remove the hose going into the back of valve cover. Let's wiggle that out. As you can see, let's wiggle that out. It pops right out. And pop right back in for you. There's another ground wire on the back of the manifold. That's a 10 as well. I use a short socket 10 millimeter for that one. And set your ground wires to the side. You'll be good. Move the manifold away. You have all the space in the world at this point. You're gonna have one more vacuum hose coming. Oh, by the way, you have the throttle cable. All you need is a 12 millimeter wrench, and just pop that one the nut that holds the cable on. Remove the cable to the side, and you'll be free to swing it all the way. And once again, you have one more vacuum hose. Same thing, pop the bond. As I said 50 million times before. Set it out of the way, and it will completely swing at this point. There you go, look at that, space, all that space. All the bolts that hold down the valve cover are 10 millimeter bolts, as well as the ignition coils are 10 millimeter bolts. And pretty much just remove them, set them aside. Like I said, I have my little magnet tray, put it on there. And you'll set it aside, you'll be good to go. The back 10 millimeter bolts that hold on the valve cover, the wire harness might be in your way. So you can actually, as you will see, move the wire harness out of the way and you have better access to the back 10 millimeter bolts. Take a little pry bar, pry up the valve cover, and it pops right off. Removal. There you go. At this point, like I said, you just do the same thing with the front valve cover, change the gasket, change the grommets, change the spark plugs. You have all the access in the world to the spark plugs and the whole nine. Change the valve cover gasket, change the grommets, and you're good to go. Hope that helped you out. Subscribe and like.